Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. We find that Fauci is going to pack his bags and get out of wherever he is, and I hope I will never hear about that person again in my life. He made a combination between, or he mixed his advice with his policy making, tyrannical, not suggestions. He almost was a politician at one point, and I'm not going to go into details what he said that was true and what was not true, but he flip-flopped a lot of times, including the mask, the efficiency of a mask and others. So for me, I consider this guy one of the people who stole 2 years of my life. So you can imagine how much I feel for this person. He was in charge of a certain department, if I may say that. And obviously the mass media is very revering when they talk about him, because they played also a role. So this article comes from Yahoo News from today, August 22nd, and we find that this is the title: Fauci to step down as nation's infectious disease chief. And that's all he had to be. He had the guy was a guy who was supposed to be based on science, and he made some statements, and that's it. You don't talk about policies, you talk about your findings, and that was your job. But I think he went beyond that, and I think it's much deeper. We're going to find about his life maybe in a few years. He's 1,000 years old already, so I don't know if they're going to mumify him or not. But let me read what's going on here in this article. Dr. Fauci, the nation's top infectious disease expert. Now that's a lie. And I'll tell you why it's a lie. He's an expert, but he's not. I don't think he's the top infectious disease expert, and I will tell you why. When you have you go to school, you have teachers and you have administrators. Administrators, like for instance, the principal of the school, the head of the school, who he or she was a teacher at one point, an educator, right? Now that person, it's not necessarily the best person in the field of whatever he graduated in. So let's say he's a I don't know, professor or teacher of geography. He teaches geography. It happens to start as a geography teacher, and he liked more administration, and or whatever, he thought he's better at that. He could have been a very good as a in the best scenario would be this very good geography teacher. Then he becomes the school administrator, main school administrator, chief. He becomes the school's principal. Now, in his capacity of a school principal, he's not doing research in geography anymore. He's looking at the department, Dr. Fauci, in its functionality. So he's not in his white robe doing experiments and that Dr. Fauci. He is more like he's a representative, he's a spokesperson, he's the representative of that department, whatever he is, right? The same is with the administrators. So he's an administrator. The fact that he is over there, it doesn't mean that he is the top expert. He is the administrator of the top experts. Doesn't mean that he is unprepared. I think he is prepared. He should be. I hope he is, because that means anyone can sell you whatever, and you don't know if the product is good. So let's start with this. So announced Monday, he announced that he will step down as director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, as well as President Biden's chief medical advisor at the end of the year. Okay, well, I'm glad you do that, but the problem is another one just like him who's gonna come up. out. And then I'm quoting what he said. It has been an honor of a lifetime to have led the NI, an extraordinary institution for so many years and through so many scientific and public health challenges. Fauci said in a statement. Well, Fauci, you will not be missed, at least by me. And the sooner you go to meet your creator, the better. I'm sorry, I can't feel anything positive about this person who I think my assessment of him, he was unsincere, he was political, and there's a lot of hanky-panky that happened between he and other, how should I put it, entities. I don't know how much freedom I have to express here in America nowadays, so that's why I have to be careful what I say. I can only express my personal dissatisfaction with him and with his flip-flops and his, believe me, I watched him in his many encounters with Rand Paul, the senator of Kentucky, and that's disgusting. And unfortunately, the mass media, I watched the exchanges between the two on many occasions and many times, and I know them almost by heart. And I watched them talking and answering and then reading the headlines in the newspaper or so-called journalists telling me about, interpreting how strong, how courageous, how fantastic was Fauci in front of evil Rand Paul. I can tell you this, that Rand Paul was an elected official, though, how much I like or I don't like mass democracy. I like Rand Paul a lot. I think he's one of the only, maybe about 5 more or 6 more in all that Congress who really live up to, I think, the job they were sent over there to perform. And this unelected official called Fauci had such a arrogance in front of an elected official that I was surprised just by his feistiness. And I was like, well, and you don't have to be a genius to realize when the guy is hiding something, going and dodging and bobbing and weaving around the question and never asking and getting personal. That was disgusting. And you can be disgusting with your statements, but the problem is you represent an institution, and once you are like that, you disgrace the whole institution, because the question is, how did you get that position? If you got that position, and I don't have admiration for this person at all, and that is because I think he played however the wind was blowing politically, and you should be true to science and reality. You're playing with the lives of so many people, and again, I'm not going to talk about those things, and I'm not going to talk with natural immunity and things that are, I don't have to get into that he, as a top biologist or whatever, Viagragist, he just insulted everyone's intelligence who has intelligence above 86, and it was disgusting to watch. And it's not only there's the one with CDC, the director, that former professor, I can't remember where she comes from. She was a professor before she went over there. Maybe you know her name. I don't even bother to remember her. Another one, and it's unfortunate, and because their suggestions, and they felt like they made laws. They thought they can make mandates and they can issue orders, and they had no power to do that. They're not unelected officials. I mean, it has to come to some other form. He can't impose that. That's why we have a democratic system. We're not led by appointed people. We're led by democratic elected representatives. That's the whole point. I mean, you have to somehow answer. You just follow certain rules. You can't impose things like that. But I guess, I asked too much. I know there are circumstances, but you create a precedent, and I think the precedent that was created is like this. They got away with it, and the next time will be next times, plural. Next time they will go even further, and further until they will never come back. Remember, once your rights, privileges, were taken away, rarely they come back the same way they were in the first place. Because if something can be taken away, that means it's not a right. And besides, you can't take something that you did not give. So they can't take a right from you that was not given by the government. The government doesn't give you any rights. The government doesn't give you, cannot take any rights. They come from the Creator. That's how this whole thing started. For the same reason. So the government, another human being, cannot infringe other people's rights. But they do. They infringe it. And they infringe it not by voting. They infringe it by mandates and all that. And I lost 2 years of my life. And I'm glad I got a chance to get that disease, or whatever you want to call it, and I'm no problem. And I knew that it would be no problem, because you can pretend how much you want. Science and reality is as it is. I mean, I knew nothing would happen. I knew. I was like 99.9% certain. Why? Look at the numbers, look at people. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that. I'm glad this weasel disappears, but I don't know who's going to come. Maybe someone of the same caliber or worse, and much younger. So that means we're going to have him longer. It depends who comes in power and is going to put his weasel in place. And I can't believe that I don't know, Trump did not get rid of him. But anyway, I'm pretty sure he knew things that I didn't, so I can't really judge that, but I was curious. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.